All right, welcome everyone. We're going to give everyone another minute before we get started. All right, perfect. Welcome to our very first webinar in the South Coast AQMD Go Zero Installer Training webinar series. For this webinar today, we're going to be going over why electrification, why business benefit, what the business benefits of electrification, and how Go Zero can help. Just as a disclaimer, this webinar is being recorded. If you do not want to be on screen or recorded, please keep your camera off. Otherwise, if we can go on to the next slide, so we can go over some housekeeping rules for the webinar today. So for today, we want to go over some rules. So just as a reminder, this session is being recorded. Slides and materials will be shared after the webinar. For chat and any questions, drop your questions in the chat at any time during the training. We will have a dedicated Q&A section at the end of this training as well to go over all questions that were asked during the seminar. As well as for participation, we ask that if you are comfortable and able to turn on your camera for active listening and learning, we encourage you to do so. Feel free to use any Zoom reactions to engage, raise hand, and the raise hand feature if you have any question during our Q&A session, as well as we have tech support available. So if you experience any issues, please message Taylor directly in the chat. Or you could also try leaving and rejoining. Sometimes that resolves a lot of the technical issues that you may come across. Next slide. All right, so welcome to our to this webinar. This webinar series is brought to you by South Coast AQMD's Go Zero Installer Trainings. Brought to you by the Energy Coalition in collaboration with Electrify My Home. The Go Zero trainings offer industry-aligned training, flexible training formats, and workforce development. So we have different training formats available, such as this webinar, as well as in-person trainings, which we will go over a little later at the end of this training. So just as overview, heat pumps are currently in high demand and rebates are creating real opportunity. So these trainings are your on-ramp to the next generation of energy solutions. Next slide. All right, so why are we here? So we're going to go over some program information, some background on why electrification is the next generation of energy technologies. So electrification is already here. It isn't coming, it's already here. So the trainings are here to help you stay ahead of the curve. The state of California is committed to transitioning to carbon neutrality by 2045 with a state goal of 6 million heat pump installations by 2030. With growing heat pump adoption, customers are asking for knowledgeable installers now. Workforce readiness is a bottleneck, so trained contractors can speak to product specifications, give recommendations, and provide clients with peace of mind that someone trained on electrification is there to support and guide them. Currently, the state is undergoing historic rates and incentive programs that are currently underway, accelerating demand for knowledgeable installers. So training yourself and your team is to your advantage. A trained installer will make you the go-to expert for electrification-ready solutions and support. And if we go on to the next slide, we can look at what the funding for Go Zero. So Go Zero underwent, or it has 21 million in pilot phase funding. And if we look at the different categories where all this funding was allocated, we have funding available for single family building properties, multifamily building properties, small business building properties, as well as supplemental programs such as this installer training, as well as application assistance. So if you are hesitant or if you encounter someone that's hesitant to apply to the rebates or incentives because application may be a little complicated, we have application assistance available. So funds were distributed on a first come, first served basis. So funds are available while they last. So that's just a little overview of that. And now we go more into what the rebates that are being offered. So for single family, if you are in a non-overburdened area, you have rebates available of up to 1,500 to replace a furnace and 1,000 to replace a water heater. As well, if you're in an overburdened area, then you have rebates available of up to 3,000 to replace a furnace and 2,000 to replace your water heater. We have multifamily funding available as well. So 1,000 to 2,000 per furnace or water heater replacement and 300 cap per property. And then finally, we have a small business program incentive. So you have up to 4,000 available per water heater in rebates if you're a small business. All right. And all right, so these trainings are built by experts in the field. So that's what makes them stick. They were developed with input from real contractors, raters, and HVAC pros. They're focused on real world performance, not just theory, and they cover the full sales and installation cycle. So everything from design, sizing, as well as customer communication. This helps you and your team position yourselves as electrification leaders with potential customers. And it pairs perfectly with rebates and utility programs, as well as incentive education that is currently available through state funding. The training is intended to turn you into trusted advisors and make you indispensable as contractors and experts and expert installers. Next slide. All right, so today's trainer is going to be Larry Waters from Electrify My Home. Larry, take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. This is great. This is our inaugural event with Go Energy and South Coast AQMD. So we're super happy to be here. Can anybody in the chat just put real quickly if you've been to one of our classes before? We do classes for a bunch of different entities, and I would just love to know if I've got any repeat participants in this class. So, real quickly, a little bit about me. I know I have the filters turned up, so I know I look like I'm 25 years old, right? But I've actually been in the trade since 1982. And, throw in the chat there if you were born after 82. A lot of you probably were. Back when I started, we were using drills with cords and real duct tape to actually fix ductwork. Now, everybody knows we only use duct tape now just to fix wallets and broken windows in our car, but the we were actually using that stuff for ductwork. Now it's your turn as you young guys in the trade to go out there and pull all that old duct tape out and put real good stuff in. So I set it up for you. I gave you all these opportunities by doing what was customary in the trade at the time, which is all wearing out now. So lots of opportunity. I'm a NATE certified HVAC technician. I have been for 24 years. I first got my NATE certification within a year of when it first came out. And NATE, if you don't know what that is, it's North American Technician Excellence. It's kind of like when you go to the garage to get your car fixed, you want to look for an ASE certified mechanic. NATE is very much the same in the HVAC industry. And then I also have a BPI certification. I've had that for about 14 years now. And BPI, if you don't know what that is, that's Building Performance Institute. And they teach you about how houses work. So we know how systems work because we're all great HVAC people, But if you've ever, as an HVAC person, gone to a house and the system's working fine and the people aren't comfortable, that's where BPI comes in. That's where we figure out what's going on with the house that's causing the problems. Okay. So, um, in 2015, because of my BPI certification, we were making houses more efficient by insulating the attics and burying the ductwork and doing a lot of things we're going to train you throughout this series for. But I figured out that that furnaces, because we did load calcs on every house, but that furnaces were all too big. So I started installing heat pumps back in 2015 as the only thing I would install. Really started trickling them into my repertoire in about 2013. But I figured out the process of doing this efficiently and effectively and save a little money for the company and make some really good profit, right? So in 2020, I worked at a company kind of while I learned all this. I was working for another. In 2020, I started Electrify My Home because I saw where California was going with electrification. I had some experience that was going to lend itself to having its own operation. And the company I worked for, the owner was going to retire, and I didn't want to be, working for his kids. So, started Electrify My Home. Incubated the business within another business for a year to get my name out there and kind of get that going. Built up a 90-day backlog. Never not had at least a 60-day backlog in the 4 years we've been in business, which is a good, comfortable place to be if you're in the HVAC industry. This is not, I'm not a seasonal driven business. Um, it's really there's really an opportunity in this that never presented itself in the HVAC industry before. And this is what we're going to teach you over this series. So I'm going to let you in on a lot of secrets and nuggets, and y'all better not compete against me because I'm really good at this. So I'm not worried about it if you do. All right. So our mission statement. I share our mission statement on every webinar that we do. We do tons of webinars every year. We do tons of in-person training. In fact, after this, I'm flying down to LA to do some stuff for another entity down there regarding heat pump water heaters. But I share this at every opportunity I can because it's really important. And if your company doesn't have a mission statement, you should jot that down and work on that. If you get into our cohort program, we'll help you work through all that. So our mission is to provide the most efficient, cost-effective solutions, and that doesn't mean selling them the most expensive system. It means putting whatever we put in as efficiently as we can and getting every kilowatt and every BTU out of that machine. We practice responsible electrical management. The majority of the houses that we install, and now pure transparency, we're in the Bay Area of California. It's close to the climate that you have. I have the city we're actually located in. We do several days a year in a row of over 100 degrees. And, it gets down to about 31 out here in the wintertime. So heat pumps work really good here. Okay, so responsible electrical management is we try to use the existing electrical on every house. So we have tons of houses out there that are fully electrified on 100 amps. So we're going to help dispel those myths through this training program as well. And train and influence other contractors to do the same. Guess what? That's what I'm doing today with you guys. So I'm glad everybody's here, and let's move on. Okay, so introductions and welcome. We got the introductions out. I think that was welcoming, right? Okay. So why your businesses and your customers need electrification. And I assume that everybody that in the room today is contractors. Can you just put in the chat what you do? And that would be fantastic. And we'll get a little bit more detailed and granular around that. But our customers need electrification. California is moving towards this. We'll get into this in a little bit more detail. In order to provide this transition into this new way of thinking for the customers, there needs to be a mindset reset on you, right? Nice, Lisa. Shout out, plumbing and HVAC contractor. Welcome, welcome. So we need to do a little mindset reset. So we have a very simple way of thinking about the mindset reset. It's a real easy little exercise. And then we're gonna get into some actual detail about how we can do this stuff. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so what's the backdrop? What is bringing us here in California to all this? And by now, most everybody knows like what's going on out there in California that, or out here in California where we all are. Um, what is electrification? It's transitioning home systems and appliances from gas to electric. Hey, there's the back of one of my vans there, right there, right? Is this a message I want everybody behind me on the freeway to know? Like heating for flames is for cavemen. So we got to get past this. Uh, Put it in the chat if you still have a flip phone, right? I'm not expecting to see anybody in the thing. The electrical transition into people's homes is nothing more than a technological upgrade for their home. If they're still choosing to do gas, especially with what we know about gas and what we know is coming with gas, and the fact that there's these low emission furnaces, we're not doing our customers any favor. There's way better options. But as part of this, we have to know, as contractors and people that are going to go prescribe this stuff, what it is that we're talking about, right? So we're going to talk about a little bit of that today. So we install all these things. We don't sell these laundry devices, but we'll certainly install one for a customer if we're out there and they have it on site, especially if it's going to help us get some electrical to someplace else. But we install tons of mini split platform heat pumps, but ducted models. It's very rare that we're putting anything on a wall. It's almost always ducted. We installed these cool battery backup stoves and tons and tons and tons of heat pump water heaters. Okay, so what is good electrification? There's two things we'll talk about through our entire training series. Are the principles of good electrification and the principles of what we call install small. And good electrification really comes down to installing the most efficient solutions possible. If I know gas prices are where they are. They're going to go up over time. As fewer people buy gas, gas prices will go up. Okay. It's inevitable. It has to happen. Um, and electrical prices are also steadily rising because they have all this infrastructure work we have to do to electrify everything in California. So if I just put a electric system in to do a gas system's job and I don't do it as efficiently as possible, we're potentially locking that customer in on higher and higher and higher energy costs over time. So installing the most efficient solution and installing it efficiently is really important in this process. Utilizing existing infrastructure whenever it's possible. Like if somebody has an unsafe electrical panel, great, they need a new electrical panel. But I'm going to try to figure out how to use their existing electrical use or their existing electrical service to do what I need to do. And in the world in Southern California with a lot of pools, this is something you're going to have to look into, right? We're going to talk about all this in coming webinars and episodes and on-site trainings. So consider all the electrification requirements from the start. Do a gas inventory on the house, right? Talk to the customer about, hey, the crazy stuff that's happening in California with gas. Let's look at the gas appliances you have and help plot you out for your electrification process moving forward. Not everybody's going to electrify everything, but there are a ton of people out there that want to do it now. So we're going to talk about the four rationales is reduced carbon at the source, safer appliances, healthier homes, and more comfort than anybody has ever experienced before. This is not new. There was a whole push for this back in the 50s. It was a little bit of a different push, right? We didn't have the same catalysts on board that we have now for this, which is people seeking out better options, upgrading their homes, wanting to stay ahead of the curve, potentially getting rid of those gas bills that are a little bit unpredictable. Um, Back in the 50s when they were pushing this, it was really because all of this stuff was so new, and like we have new electric ways to heat your house. A 1956 electric way to heat a house was not what we would call efficient today, but a lot of it was because all these other things that were coming out, like what they called there's some really cool advertising on YouTube that we use in some of our classes, but it's called Live Better Electrically, and it was all about having electric things do your jobs easier. And it was during the invention period of time when they were doing other small appliances in the home, like blenders and mixers and electric griddles and just like all the electric stuff. Dishwashers, washing machines, all these things, vacuum cleaners. So all of these things that were coming online back in the 50s was this push towards electrification. And what was going on is electrical in the country was getting um, kind of, it was at a point where they needed to sell more kilowatts in order to build out the electrical system in the United States. And so living better electrically was the push for that. Okay. Early heat pumps, I don't know, maybe you don't know, but heat pumps have been around since the 50s. There's a lot of these out there still at apartment complexes and whatnot where they just keep fixing them. But the heat pumps have been around for a long time. But heat pumps were always those things you had when you lived outside the range of the gas grid, right? Because it didn't make sense to have a heat pump in your house if you had gas available, because gas was always really inexpensive. And these things just didn't do that good of a job, right? So at some point, gas won the race, man. Natural gas became dominant due to a combination of historical, economic, technical factors. Um, Big time annual U.S. natural gas consumption by sector. So electric power was using a lot of gas. That was going up so we could use gas to generate power. Residential was a little bit, industrial was going up. The but you can see like it's ticking up after we hit this certain period of time. And then once we hit this fracking boom in the United States and they realize, hey man, when we break these rocks apart, there's a lot of natural gas comes out. Natural gas got plentiful and cheap really fast. So now it's like, what do we do about it? If you've ever driven past a refinery and they got the flames going up there, they're cracking out that natural gas during that cracking process. And but we need to harness that and bring it in. So they did that, and it worked pretty good for a long time. But in those times, we didn't have a way to test air quality. So where are we on all this? So why the electric resurgence? Is it one of these issues? And I think if we just think about who's sponsoring these trainings, we know, right? A lot of people go directly to this climate change thing. And it's not necessarily climate change. Whoops, that flame, that one's missing. Okay. It's really air quality and health that are driving this, right? So why the air district is investing in this training for y'all. Flames out by 2030. So our governor came out, I think this is 2021 actually, and said we have a goal of installing 6 million heat pumps in California by 2030. So we're a little closer to 2030 now than we were a couple years ago, right? Time keeps marching on. We are installing a lot of heat pumps out there and we're working towards or we're working towards this number, but we have a lot of work left to do. And the last stat I looked at, there's about 2 million heat pumps put in since this kind of thing got started. Um, there's about 2 million slated to be put in for LMI. And then there's another 2 million that we need to sell just to hit our basic goal of 6 million by 2030. No new gas, furnaces and water heaters. The Air Resources Board is initiating plans right now to phase out new gas furnace and water heater installs. So, um, starting even earlier in the Bay Area, we got some pretty interesting rules popping out in the Bay Area coming up here very soon. That's going to drive this even harder. So keep your eye on that one. This is the reason why, California is we're very proud of Yosemite and the Golden Gate Bridge and all these beautiful things, these beautiful mountains and the coastlines, but we're also proud owner of 8 of the nastiest dirty air cities in the country. And you see, you guys kind of live in the epicenter down there. Anybody that's driven through Bakersfield in the summertime knows what I'm talking about. But y'all that living down in Southern California see it too. So this is all to get rid of this, right? There's some pretty nasty stuff comes out of your furnace and your water heater. You got these nasty little nitrogen oxides. We got some nitrogen dioxides. You got CO, carbon monoxide, CO2. Just a lot of nasty stuff comes out of our house. In fact, in the Bay Area, they did some research a few years ago, and it was presented at the Heat Pump Summit up here in Northern California. And what they presented was that there's an equal amount of exhaust coming from the buildings in the Bay Area that there is coming from the cars in the Bay Area. And it's great if you have an electric car. I think it's fantastic, right? But when you buy an electric car or you buy any car, as soon as you buy it, it's worth less than what you paid for it. As soon as you drive it out of the parking lot, right? When you upgrade someone's home and you reduce that carbon emission, it increases the value of the home. So it's a net gain by doing that. So which makes more sense? If y'all have a customer and you ride up to their house and they've got solar panels and an electric car and they're talking to you about a gas furnace, we need to do a reality check, right? If you've got anybody that has panels on their house or anybody that just is replacing anything, we need to do a reality check with them and get them talking about heat pumps, right? So our local buildings are really, really bad for this pollution. Okay, so stoves. This is the one we hear all the time. Ah, I can't get rid of my gas stove. I love my gas stove. And people, I just love my gas. And my response to that is always, I can't believe you have such an intimate relationship with the fuel that cooks your food. But people do, right? So most of the time people have preconceived notions about electric stoves, and when they think about the option of getting rid of their beautiful gas stove and going to that electric stove with the coils on top, that's a huge backward movement for most people. But what we also know is most people don't know about induction cooking. So when we start talking about and learning about induction cooking and we're able to present that as an option, I won my wife over. My wife was dead set on us not ever. That was going to be the last thing that I had hands off in my house. And I caught her at a moment of weakness when she was cleaning those grates, and I said, "Let's go look for a new gas stove." I said, "Look at this. This is one of those new fancy ones I was showing you. We got an induction stove." And within a month, all of her objections went away, and she loved it. So people can, if you ever cooked on induction, it's easy to get away from gas. So let's just look at this real quick. So if you live next door to a gas power plant, the EPA says you can't have more than 100 parts per billion of nitrogen oxides in the air outside. Okay. Cooking just one dish on a gas stove in your house can put out almost twice of that inside your house. So there's the potential, one thing, one dish, you're going to go twice what the legal limit is for outside nitrogen oxides. So that's really bad. You cook a full meal on it, you can get 4 times as much in your house. And if you have a gas oven and you put it in the cleaning mode, you can have 6 times that much. So what we didn't know back in the day, we didn't have all these devices where we could check air quality. And so what we didn't know when all these gas stoves were coming on is what the potential for the pollution inside our houses actually were. Now, if you're one of those people, if you're one of the 10 people that own a gas stove and actually run the fan every single time, then good on you. But those fans don't work very well and they're not getting it all out. There's been a lot of data on the medical issues that can be created by gas stoves as well. There's a great article out there that talks about your children, if you have little kids in the house with a gas stove, they're 40% more likely to develop child onset asthma than with an electric stove. So that's enough of a kicker to get a lot of people to at least consider induction as a replacement for gas. So let's not be so passionate about how we cook our food, and let's get more passionate about how our food comes out and the safety of our family. So, okay. So why your business needs electrification right now? The time is right because the consumers are asking for it. When I first started doing this, I was telling every customer, "Oh, you know what? You shouldn't get a furnace. There's this thing called a heat pump." And guess what? You get free air conditioning. And I was selling in the Bay Area to a lot of people that had floor furnaces still, and they just wanted to upgrade a new furnace, or they had heat only in the house. And they were like, it's only 2 weeks a year that I really need air conditioning. And I'm like, yeah, but you're going to use it 3 months out of the year once you realize the comfort it delivers. So every one of my early conversations where I installed a heat pump was converting a customer that thought they wanted a new furnace into a heat pump. And I was able to double my income with even having that conversation with people. So now that conversation is already out there. Everybody knows somebody that has a heat pump. The problem is some people know people that have a bad heat pump. So because it wasn't installed right and it wasn't designed right, I get calls all the time from my friends referring other people that have a heat pump that they don't understand, or the information wasn't given up front and the expectations weren't set for the customer when they bought them. So they didn't know what they were going to get. And then they look at everything as a negative. You got to spin all this stuff to a positive. We're going to teach you all that in our classes. Okay. So for even up to, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, I had a heat pump water heater customer. They called the plumber. The guy says, no, I wouldn't put one of those things in. I wouldn't put one of those things in. And why? They didn't believe in him, like it was the Easter Bunny or something. So why is electrification important now? Timing the movement to your business is really important. There's still lots of room for pioneers, and well, you don't have to be a pioneer. You can be an early adopter business, because the pioneers like myself, we took all the arrows in the beginning, like pioneers often do. But you guys can be early adopters into this and make yourself experts. I don't know if you know how many people are on this call today, but it's not all your competitors are not on here. So you're giving yourself a boost just being in this, and then you continue to go to these classes. We're going to equip you with enough knowledge and education and golden nuggets that they can really drive your business forward. Of all those people are kind of ignoring this. So lots of forces are aligning to bring this mainstream. We got state forces, we got local governments, we got the air quality districts, we got all of these people. A lot of them are driving incentives. There's a lot of people getting behind this message, and people are knowing about it. I shared our story in a meeting at the Chamber of Commerce the other day, and I was really surprised when I did that half the people in the Chamber of Commerce knew about the gas changes that were coming. Just a year ago, nobody knew. So people are finding this out. People are looking for heat pumps. So it's never been easier for you to get into this, right? Lots of training available. So like build up your confidence a little bit, get you out there, walk you through some stuff, all kinds of incentive programs, and it's going to be really easy to position yourself as an expert. So good on you for being on this call. Stay tuned for the rest of what we're going to deliver, because it's going to be hard hitting. Okay. So the tide has already turned. We can see it in equipment orders. The heat pumps are widening their lead on gas furnaces. The heat pumps first kind of topped it. One of the things that pushed this was this program called Tech Clean California, and that was a consumer transformation program. And it's been around for about 4 years now, and it really pushed the difference between furnaces and heat pumps at that point. And then just technology got so much better. A lot of contractors got aware of it. Heat pumps were being able to be used in much colder areas. So heat pump orders outpaced gas furnace orders even in 2020 and a half, right? During that whole I'm in my house and I need a new system period. Really outpaced them a year later. Everything kind of slowed down in 2023, and then bam, heat pumps took off like a rocket. So, and this doesn't mean direct, some of these are wall mounted units in houses where they didn't replace the furnace. So, doesn't mean the house doesn't have a furnace anymore. Might just have a heat pump in a main bedroom somewhere. If you've got, if you've been in business for a while and you have email from your customers, and you start providing some of these electrification measures that you can do with whatever license that you have, and you can do heat pump water heaters with your HVAC license if you're a licensed HVAC person. So you can do heat pumps, heat pump water heaters at least. Get hooked up with a good electrician. Do pre-wiring is good money in pre-wiring, and there's really good money in knowing what all these other things are, right? So we install a ton of car chargers every year. So you've spent a bunch of money on marketing. You've got all these customers out there that have gas appliances now. You can get in there. So these customers that were sold out, you can restart these relationships. So it's a new opportunity for a new life cycle all the way through everything in their house. You should be so excited about this. It's amazing. So it opened doors for new measures, panel upgrades. If you're not into those, smart panels are making the big wire now, or the big rush now. Appliance wiring adds a new product category for those who are sold out. If you can get all your maintenance technicians talking to the customers about, hey, have you heard this thing about electrification? You know what California's doing with the gas, and get the conversation started with customers. I promise they will read up on it and they will ask you for these things. So we have a whole training around that as well. Okay. Most traditional HVAC companies have a shoulder season. One of the things we're going to do to be helpful during that time is we're not going to bring trainings to you during the busiest times of your year. We're going to make them easy for you guys to do. So we're going to also allow you to put those shoulder seasons to work. I mentioned earlier, my company is a project-based company. We don't do too much service on anything that's not our own stuff. Okay, so we don't go find dead furnaces and have this conversation. We actually market to people that want to electrify their homes. And we're constantly out, like we're scheduled all the way out through the year already. So that's a good place to be. I don't have to worry about like, what are we doing tomorrow? So we know what we're doing tomorrow. We know what we're doing on December 31st here. I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be recovering. So no, that'll be January 1st. So you have a shoulder season, put it to work. Doing performance electrification is where the money is. So project-based work means less seasonal ebb and flow. Avoid dealing with, I got to do this tomorrow. Most of your businesses need that as well, but this is a good way to fill up those slots. Customers are willing, if you go to a customer's house and their stuff isn't dead yet and you talk to them about electrification, they're okay doing it in April when you're slow, right? You can fill those spots and give yourselves a lot of time to get ready for these jobs. Have them do 3 4 day projects where you're completely redoing everything. These projects bring in a lot of money when your guys are normally sitting at home. So okay, think I blew that one out. So, carrot or stick, the choice is yours. If we wait till the carrots are gone, it's going to automatically be sticks, folks. Right now, there's all kinds of things available. Um, this program, including South Coast Air Quality Management District, is investing a lot into your ability to understand this better. We have a lot of different courses coming out through the process of this program that are going to be instrumental in you changing the focus of your business, or even a part of the focus of your business to attack this. So some of the cities in your area: Anaheim, Azusa, Burbank, Glendale, Los Angeles, Pasadena, Rancho Cucamonga, and Riverside. Um, there's a lot of incentives going on there. We've got Tech Clean California, Clean Power Alliance, LA County, Southern California Edison, South Coast. There's a lot of opportunities out there. So take advantage of those while they're there. Build that customer base, build that referral base. We're 5 years into this business. Still, almost 40% of our work comes from referrals. And we've grown from 3 people 4 years ago to 23 people. And I've got 3 crews out there running these jobs now every week. And just doing this clean power stuff. It's clean work and dirty hands, clean money. Okay. If a customer's gas system dies, don't sell them another VCR, right? Heat for gas furnaces have been around for 150 years, man. They really haven't changed that much. We're still combusting a flame and harnessing the heat in 2 sheet metal pieces and warming it up and blowing air over it. Now they've gotten a little fancier now. They've got ones that speed up and slow down a little bit. We got variable speed and 2 stage, and they did modulating, which didn't really work out for most of the programs or most of the manufacturers, because they built furnaces that took more skill to install, and they put them in an industry where people want to do stuff really fast. So um, furnaces can be a lot more unforgiving than heat pumps can to a certain degree, but heat pumps need to be sized better. But we don't want to go back with old school when we've got such great technology available to us now. So we're going to help you figure out how to incorporate higher performance installs into your business. And we look at what we do at Electrify My Home as actually being, we're the people that help the customers decide what they need to do, and we also implement all of it. And I do as much of it in-house as I can so that I don't have to have them dealing with other contractors. And that's an easy sell. If the customer is looking at a water heater, a heat pump, and some electrical work and potentially a stove and a car charger, if you can wrap all that up in one and be the one person to do it, there's a huge benefit for that for the customer. Like you're going to do all this with four different contractors, and you're going to have all these contractors talk to each other. They need to synergize in order to keep everything right so that the water heater guy doesn't use the heat pump breaker that you were going to use. It all needs to be on a plan. It's easy to sell it that way. So, and then we're going to show you during these courses how to do the high performance stuff into the business. So how do we make these heat pumps perform better? And then how do we sell it to our customers, right? Some people are on a super tight budget and they might not be able to afford to do this everything right. But we need to know what their house needs and what their goals are in order to establish the budget. So what we don't want to do is just automatically pre-think this customer just can't afford the best system because people will figure it out if it's presented to them properly. So the viable project is right here in the middle. If we can find the budget that they can deal with, whatever their house needs and what their goals are, that cross section right there is the sweet spot. So your mindset means everything. And if there's any business owners or managers here, you probably read one of these business books or two over your life. They're all the same thing. It's mindset. So if our mindset is against heat pumps, the customer's going to read it on us. So we got to get your salespeople at your company and your maintenance technicians and your service technicians up to speed on how to talk about this and understand how it's done and the benefits of doing it properly. If you've put in some heat pump projects and they haven't turned out real good, you need to learn from those and do it right the next time, right? Build that confidence in your people so they don't all just go, I'm just going to keep selling furnaces till the last day I can sell furnaces. So the way we look at this is you need to dump your cup. You need to dump the old coffee cup with the moldy coffee in it. Get rid of that. You need to take a Brillo pad, clean out that cup, get a nice fresh cup, which is what we're going to give you, and let us fill it up with the information you need and the mindset that you need to help you be able to communicate this and install better projects. Because once you know electrification and you understand electrification and the multifaceted benefits, people get caught up on the little nuances of things that they don't like about it, whatever those are. We're going to show you all the benefits of this throughout this program that are going to help you understand the many benefits of this. Here's just a few, right? We need them 6 million heat pumps. 90% of houses still rely on gas for space or water heating. This presents an amazing opportunity, right? We're talking $1 trillion transfer of money going to happen in California over the next 5 or 6 years. So zero emission standards are being considered by CARB, and they are in place in other parts of the state. And there's 3.4 million houses out there with no air conditioning. If we put really low efficiency heat pumps in those 3.4 million houses, and everybody realizes they have an air conditioner they can turn on that heat wave time, is that going to be good for the grid? The answer is no. But if I take all the heat or all the systems I replace now and I put good efficient ones in and I do everything efficiently as I can when I'm chipping away at this 3.4 million houses with no air, I can make a net impact on the grid that is positive. And you're going to learn that and how that is and how to communicate it through this training series. Okay. we couldn't do this right now if we didn't have such cool technology. The heat pump technology out there is just mind blowing how cool it is. And really, if you think about everything it does, how cheap it is. Because it's the what we can get out of a system that costs far less than you're buying from a typical manufacturer and putting in a mid-grade single stage system where I can get a really good inverter system and just install it a little better and completely change their life and drop their bills like a rock. It doesn't make sense not to do it. We're going to teach you how to do that. So the technology's ready. I'm getting everybody in this group probably has a flat screen TV in their house. They probably have a smartphone and not a flip phone, right? There's these technological changes that we've gone through in our own personal lives that we did voluntarily because it was just cool. So we need to present the heat pump as the new cool technology improvement in the house and not like this thing because you got to get rid of your gas. We want to change the conversation with the customer, right? California is always also the perfect climate for heat pumps. But I tell you what, heat pumps will work anywhere. So the one of the main adopters in heat pump technology in the United States is Maine, and it gets really cold in Maine. But they have more heat pumps per capita going in up there than anywhere else in the country. So they work when it's cold. So there's no excuse where you live in Southern California. It's going to be 80 degrees on Christmas Eve, right? Solar and storage is abundant in California. In fact, so much that it's created some issues. And more customers, as rates go up, are seeking energy independence. So, can you go net zero if I put a gas furnace back in your house? I went and um, I went and looked at a house that was a walkthrough open house the other day that was for sale. I was just kind of intrigued by what they'd done with the inside of the house. So my wife and I went and looked through it, and I said, "It looks like in the pictures that they have a heat pump." And so I went over and I looked, and it did. It had a 4 ton, way bigger than it needed to be, a 4 ton GE inverter heat pump. So I went and opened the closet door, and they put it on a 100,000 BTU variable speed furnace with a 4 ton heat pump. Like there's no reason a house where I live in Vacaville needs a furnace in it, regardless, especially if they're going to put that heat pump in. So not everybody is doing this the best way possible. We're going to teach you how. Okay, so a little bit more about this once in a career business opportunity. There's older HVAC and plumbing guys out there ready to retire. I'm just an energetic guy that's never going to retire. Like they're going to come in and find me in my office someday slumped over my keyboard, probably when I'm 85 years old. Hopefully my employees will still like me that much when I'm old and crotchety, but there's a lot of people that have been in the business for years and they just want to get out. There's a lot of opportunity to expand businesses around that. And since older people are retiring, some of these older thoughts and models are going out. We rented a building. The building I leased that we're in used to belong to an air conditioning company. This is the worst balanced building I've ever been in. It has a 3 ton system for about, I don't know, 300, 400 square feet of office space upstairs where my office is. And it has a 14-inch return on that thing. So that's air conditioning people for you, old school air conditioning people for you. So some local governments are encouraged incentivizing early system replacements, right? These rebates out there, we took out a 2-year-old Navian heat pump or a Navian tankless water heater the other day and put in a heat pump water heater because the customer wanted to get off gas. It doesn't need to be at the end of life in order for people to want to do this. More work equals more money. Call it more money. What are we in this business for? We want to take care of our customers and we want to take care of our people. But we can only take care of our customers and our people if our companies make money. We need to make money, right? That's what we're in this for. And it's not cheap to do business in California. So any opportunity we have to raise that ticket price and get those profits coming in, I think it's a good thing you're on this call because we're going to run through all of this over the next series of training. If you do your work well and you start doing stuff that other people tell you can't do, I was installing 18,000 BTU systems in 1,500 square foot houses almost 10 years ago. And my brother, I come from an HVAC family. My brother, who is a field service rep for a major manufacturer, for 3 years told me that can't be done. I'm like, dude, I'm doing it every day. And he's like, he's finally come over to this side of I mean, he's come over from the dark side after attending a few of his younger brother's trainings. So which sounds better? A like for like swap? A like for like swap doesn't sound bad if you're a service tech and you just want to sell a system, you got to install something tomorrow. You're going to still have those in your business. What we call a box swapping, right? Take out a 3-ton, put in a 3-ton, even though the customer got insulation, new windows, and got some shade, came in, got a shade cover. They got all these things that reduce their load, but the service tech just goes and sells the same size system. Those don't work good with heat pumps, by the way. Box swapping things, worrying about what's going on the next day, small dollar service calls, worrying about the weather. Like if you're in this business and you said, "Oh, we're slow because it's weather driven," we need to change that paradigm in your mind. And that's going to happen when you pour out that dirty cup. You get rid of those predetermined notions that you have of being HVAC people. And I've been one for 42 years. It's cool. I understand. Once we get rid of that and we start thinking about the opportunities that are here, there's more than enough for everybody. We need to do 6 million heat pumps. We do only heat pumps. We install like 400 a year, maybe even less. I don't know. But maybe 400 of them a year. We're not going to get them all done. That's why I want to come out and show you how to do it. So gets rid of the tire kickers. I'm going to show you how we get rid of the tire kickers when it comes. But you guys run a long way in big traffic to talk to somebody that's got 5 other bids and they're all the same. So what if you had complete domination and differentiality? That's how I built this business. We're just completely different than everybody else, and it shows, right? I'm going to show you how to do that. Give you brand exclusivity. Your brand could be the brand for the electrification expert in your area. This is what you can deliver to the customers. True comfort, quiet operation, super quiet operation when this is done. Modernization, safety, lifelong customers. Man, we got all these things that we're going to give to our customers that are going to be better than whatever we put out before. Okay, duly noted on the time. Okay. So I've got customers. Oops, let's go back one. I've got customers that I installed a heat pump for 4 years ago. 2 years later, when the water heater rebates came out, we sent out emails and everything to our customers. Got just a ton of water heater replacements in houses I had already put the heat pump into. Those customers inevitably come back to me for car charger, electrical panel upgrade or smart panel, um, insulation, whatever those other things that we're selling. They've all come back over time. I got tons of customers that are on a 4-year plan, and I got tons of customers that just want to get it done. The customer, the techie people with all the money, and they're just like, come in, take care of it all. I just want it done. That's the opportunity. Those jobs are money makers. So what is it that we can deliver with heat pump technology that we can't do with any others? Alex, do we have any questions? We're coming up on question time.
There've been two that have been addressed, but we've only
Okay.
got a couple final slides and
Okay.
some
Let's
information
get
at the
on it.
end, and so we'll have a couple minutes to pull in more questions. If anyone has questions as we're going through the final couple slides, go ahead and just post them into the Q&A, or if you want to just raise it at the end, we can do that too.
Perfect. Perfect. So this is the 5 things we talk about that we've matched this to personality types. So we didn't get into that at all today, but we sell on personality type. It's a fascinating way to do it. And we have trainings that are going to come up through this program that are built around that. So stay tuned. But we talk about better comfort, like comfort that you've never felt before. And I have customer testimonials of like, oh my God, it's perfect inside and I can't hear it outside. And I just talk to your customers. When you do these projects right, you can build credibility on all of these things. When I install my systems properly, most of them are close to inaudible in most cases, if not extremely quiet based on what they had before. So I got that sales approach that you can't do with a plug and play. There's nothing more environmentally friendly, but I'll tell you right now, not everybody's going to respond to environmentally friendly. Not everybody's going to respond to better comfort. Some people just say it's fine. I just need a new one. My old one's old and I don't care. We got to pull better comfort out of them. Safer. If I get rid of a gas furnace in your house, That, by the way, a lot of companies spend a lot of money selling safety checks on furnaces. Do I need to do a safety check on a heat pump? No, I can just do a straight tune up on it. It's a great sales tool or a great sales point for a customer to drive home. Like, you have a furnace in here. Companies are selling you safety checks, which means that these are inherently unsafe at some point. Why would you put another one of these systems in if you could put something in that's completely safe for your family and it's going to lead to better indoor air quality and it's going to be quieter and it's going to provide comfort like you've never felt in your home before? And we're going to show you how to do this and deliver these and deliver the message to the customer on all of these. So, um, really important facts here. What is the one that you don't see on here? I talk about energy savings with my customers, but I talk about it only to the point where I know, because some of your customers out there turn their furnace on for an hour in the morning and they take the chill off and they just go from there. So keep tuning into these Go Zero classes. We're going to hit you with all kinds of great stuff. I've got people that have gone through my other classes and gone back 2 or 3 times. And there's a great cohort program that'll come on. So we'll give you a minute if any questions have come up. If not, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the upcoming webinars that are coming right away and the in-person trainings that we're going to be delivering to you guys soon. Any questions real quick? All right, moving on. So on Tuesday, October 21st, that's next Tuesday, folks. Okay, it's cool. It's next two in a row. Next Tuesday, we're going to talk about your customers' toughest heat pump questions. Going to be a little bit of sales sprinkled in here, a little bit of objection handling, and really figuring out what the pushback is for buyers, finding out that through asking the right questions and getting the right answers to them and being able to field those questions and get them interested. We get people interested all the time in going with electrification, where they're like, the way I do my elevator speech is I'm Larry Waters from Electrify My Home. We convert houses from gas to electric. And most people ask me, why the heck would you want to do that? And I start with that. And by the end, they're going, here, I need a card. Right. So we're going to help you with that. November 11th, we got another one coming up, overcoming heat pump hesitation. And then coming up in December, out here live for 2 days. Now, this is a very, very good program. We're going to scratch the surface of so many different topics in this. You need to send your salespeople to this. If you've got sales managers, service technicians, they are all going to get a lot out of this. There's going to be a complete conversion when they come out of this, and they're going to understand what they need to do, how they need to do it. We're going to do a disc profile test so everybody understands their personality type. We're going to show them how to communicate with the other personality types and how to discover what personality type your customer is so that you can better deliver the message. And we're going to do it all live. And it's a super fun, fast moving, tons of information covered 2 day in Diamond Bar. If you can't make 2 days for this free training, this would cost your company $10,000 to send 3 people to if you weren't paying for it. South Coast Air Quality Management District is paying for this for you so you can build your business around heat pumps. So if you're just a little bit intrigued by this, scan this now and register for it, because there's a limited amount of people that we can put in this class because it's very interactive. So we can't have more than 30 people in this class. Because it needs to be interactive. We're going to go over goal setting. We're going to go over disc profiles. Everybody's going to do a disc profile. All the objections. Have your guys bring all the objections they're hearing. I'm going to convert your guys into being able to talk to customers. Your maintenance technicians are going to be able to bring it up with the customers, and it's going to help your business move forward through electrification. So we want to get you in this class because we want to help your business grow. Now, what we're going to do out of the crew, this is a very special offer. Out of the crew that we bring to this class, we're going to take 6 contractors that are really motivated, and we are going to roll them into our cohort program. And our cohort program is also SQAMD is picking up the tab. That cohort program is a 12-week. We meet for 2 hours on a Friday virtually on a Zoom call. I bring in an expert from the industry every single week as an expert topic, and we're going to talk about all the things. You're going to find out what's going on 3 years from now because of the experts I bring in on this cohort program. So you need to sign up for this, and you need to make it here, and you need to send as many people for your company as you can. And you're going to need to sign up early because there's only 30 seats. So, and be ready for that cohort program. And we'll show you some of the benefits that other contractors in your area have had from going through that cohort program. So it's an absolute value for your company. That's another $5,000 worth of value for your company, and it's all being paid by the AQMD down there. So let's get this going. We'll see you then. For now, you can
Larry's got one more question we'll answer live, and then
okay.
we're right at time here, right at 10. So
Let's go for
let's
it.
try to squeeze it in real quick. Will California be forced to these changes? Our new construction projects have been requiring heat pumps, but our regular service and repairs have not been enforced. When will these changes be forced upon multifamily residential owners? I see a lot of force in there.
Yeah, I think goes back a little bit to mindset. And there's going to be a transition in California to all electric through the code cycles that are coming up. I can't tell you exactly what they are when they are. Different air districts, the cardboard, there's a whole bunch of stuff going behind the scenes. So we need to think about I wasn't forced to buy that flat screen TV in my house. I wasn't forced to get a smartphone. I wasn't forced to get a hybrid car. I was enticed into doing that because they were better options. We need to present these as better options. The question on multifamily, I think there's going to be a point in time where you will no longer be able to do a gas system. I don't know what that point in time is. It's up in the air a little bit in parts of the state. Some parts like the Bay Area, it's a little bit more solid. Um, but we need to not think about this as being forced to do this. This is a transformation of our homes' energy systems to a new and better technology. And we're gonna help you change that paradigm. So come on in and get that 2-day class. I will tell you, when you leave that class, you're going to be so excited about heat pumps that the word forced isn't going to come out. Okay. Mark, which form is not letting you register? Uh-oh.
Yeah, if anyone's having issues with the forms, go ahead. I'm not sure which form you're having a challenge with, but go ahead. You can just send us an email. I put the email. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat as well. But we want to make sure that everyone has access to sign up here. So let me put the
Yeah.
email address in the
You got to
chat room.
sign up early, man. And there's only going to be 30 people in the class. The more you bring from your company, I think we've limited it to a certain amount of people per company because we do want to get this message out to at least a few companies per training. And but that cohort program, so in the cohort program, we can come down and train all your people. So there's a ton of value in this for you guys if you get involved. Okay. All right. Well, we are at time. We're 2 minutes over. So thank you all for spending your time with us on this Tuesday morning. I had to stop and think about what day it is. We're busy over here. So thank you for spending time with us on this Tuesday morning. Tell all your friends about this. Tell all your colleagues about this, except the ones that work next to you in the shop next to you. Yeah, maybe don't want to compete with them, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm going to give you the nuggets that you're going to need to take this and change your business. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll talk soon.